So I want to read this comment, and it goes, "This is so ignorant of you. White people fly the Irish, German, Italian flags, etc., and nobody says a word about it, so stop it. MAGA has succeeded in brainwashing you against your own people. What a shame." Okay, so me saying, hey, let's not go out and cause violence in these cities is not me going against my own people. Me speaking about how our own people support companies that is enslaving Latin Americans, that is not going against my own people. Me speaking about how where is all of this energy when it comes to all the cartel causing all this violence, that is not going against my own people. Me talking about how Latinos don't even acknowledge in the indigenous people or indigenous rights, and a lot of the issues that is happening in Latin America is due to the violation of indigenous people. That is not me going against my own people. I have lived in Guatemala. I've experienced a lot of violence in Guatemala, so I understand a lot of the frustration that is going on, but encouraging our people to continuously just come here all the time, that is not helping anybody. And also burning all of these cities, that is not helping anybody at all. That is not a good image at all, and that is not what Latin Americans want. That is not me going against my own people. People during the Mexican Independence Parade, they fly the Mexican flag. Nobody says anything about it. During St. Patrick's Day, the Irish people can fly their own flag. Nobody's saying anything about it. During the Palestinian protests, Palestinians were also flying their own flag. Now, I went to the Palestinian parade because that's a genocide and you're bombing people, and that is not okay. However, this type of protest, I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to go and encourage and participate in the burning of my own city, in the destruction of the USA. I'm not going to encourage that. Now, using your voice and speaking out against injustices, okay, that's a different issue. But going out and destroying cities, that is not okay. During Black Lives Matter, do you think that I was out there? No, I was not out there. And in fact, I truly believe that you should not be allowing little children or women to be out here, because you're putting the most vulnerable people of our own communities in danger when you're allowing the women and children to be in these places. Of course, women have their own minds and they're going to do whatever they want, but we shouldn't encourage this, That is my belief. So, I have also seen comments about how this is internal racism, but yet I have always advocated for the safety of Latin Americans. That is what my channel has always been. I have always been talking about a lot of the issues that's been going on in Latin America, and a lot of those issues has to do with us as USA citizens and our lifestyle. That is the fact. And if you as a Latino want to get offended because I am bringing this up and I'm not encouraging you to go and cause all this violence, well, so be it. Then you're the issue. You're the problem. Also, when we encourage a lot of this immigration up to the USA, our people feel that the only hope that they have is up here in the USA. And I believe that that is wrong. You know what happens also when our people come here into the USA? Do you know who takes up the land? Americans, USA people from Australia, people from Europe, Japanese. They go into our land and take over also. So this idea that we should be encouraging our Latin American brothers and sisters to come up here in the USA, I think that is wrong. I also believe that as Latin Americans, we need to be mindful about who we allow into Latin America. Because in Guatemala, for example, the Chinese have been having more privileges than indigenous people. You will find indigenous people in their own homeland. Being out here on the side of the street, having nothing. Yet Chinese people are now taking up shop in Guatemala City. Or how a lot of Arabs also in Guatemala have been allowed, to come here as refuge. And do you think that they go and help the Guatemalans, the Mayan people? No. They're part of the elite, okay? You also want to talk about MAGA, but when it comes to MAGA, before I didn't really research that much stuff, but when it comes to MAGA, A lot of them don't want these wars. There is a divide within MAGA, and some people support Ukraine or some people support Israel, which I do not at all. However, there are also people within the MAGA that do not support Ukraine or Israel, because the whole point of MAGA was make America great again. And I agree with that. I agree that our USA citizens should have the ability to do well, because then we can go and turn around and help the globe. We can turn around and help other nations. We as Latin American people, we have a responsibility, and we are not going to be able to do that if we are not acknowledging our own responsibility in the damages of Latin America. That is not me being racist against myself. I hope you understand that people being deported, they're still going back to Latin America, a place that we're still exploiting. There's many ways of helping Latin Americans, and destroying the USA, that is not going to help Latin Americans.